Hey there, my name's Monica and I'm 35 years old. I just got the best revenge on my superficial ex-husband, and I thought that I'd come on here and share my story with anyone who'd want to listen. Just for some background, I met Zach through a work colleague of mine when I was around 24. At this time, I was struggling a lot because I had just moved to an entirely different state for work. I was away from home and my family and friends. As a result, I barely ate or slept, which made me lose a lot of weight. Now, I wasn't unattractive in any way, but the weight loss seemed to have made me appear even more attractive because suddenly I was turning heads wherever I went. And that only made me feel worse because it made me feel like I had been ugly before. Anyway, I had a friend at work who told me that she had an attractive friend who was looking for someone. Now, I'm usually very shy when it comes to dating and whatnot, but I was feeling really low, so I figured that a good date might cheer me up. So I agreed to date with her friend, Zach, and she was not lying when she said that Zach was attractive. We hit it off really well, and that one date turned into one more and then another until we became an official couple. While Zach was an attractive and charming man, there was only one flaw to him, and that was that he wasn't exactly earning very well. But I didn't mind that because I had big feelings for him and I made enough to pay for all our dates. Anyway, the relationship got really serious, and after about 3 years of dating, we decided to get married. Zach invited all of his friends and family, who I did not get to meet until our wedding because they all lived on the other side of the country. Our wedding was truly a glorious day. I met more people than I ever did in my entire life. I didn't get to know them well, but everyone on Zach's side seemed to be lovely people. If there was one thing that I would note here, it is that all his friends, who were his childhood friends, were super rich. They bought us the fanciest and most expensive gifts. These are things that I never thought I'd ever own. Anyway, life after marriage was pretty good for me. I finally began to feel comfortable, and slowly but surely I began to gain a little weight. I was overweight, but I finally had more than just skin and bone on me. I noticed Zach getting more distant, but he never really talked about it whenever I asked, so I just let it go and waited for him to come to me. One day after Zach came back from work, he told me that he had been thinking of meeting up with his friends. So the boys and I were discussing meeting up by the end of this month. The boys? You know, my friends that I invited to our wedding, the ones that got us all those fancy gifts. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. Where do you plan on meeting them? Well, I was sort of hoping that we would host dinner for them and their wives. That's not a bad idea. Plus, that would save us some expense. This month has been really hard, hasn't it? Yeah, but, could you not bring up our financial situation in front of them? Of course, I only made that remark because it's us right now. I know. It's just that I do sometimes feel a little inferior to them because we all grew up together and I'm the only one that's still struggling. I get that. And I'm not suggesting that we don't host, but because you are insecure, why don't any one of your friends host dinner? That might make the whole thing feel less stressful for you. No, they already look down on me, and if there's one way for me to make them feel like I'm not using them in any way, is to do this. Why in the world would your friends think that you're using them? I don't know. Deep down inside, I do think that they look at me that way. They always bought me all the fanciest of things, and I've never been able to give back to them in that capacity. Hey, I'm sure that they're grateful for everything you've done for them. If you've stayed for so long, I'm sure that they see what you contribute to the friendship and they're appreciative of it. Yeah, you're right, but still, we'll need to deep clean the house and only bring out our finest of things. You leave that up to me, sweetie. I know how to host a good dinner and make it seem like we're better off than we are. Thanks so much for understanding. Hey, if not me, then who be there by your side always? Even though I didn't actually get to spend time with his friends before, I was excited to meet them and get to know them better. Since we were hosting dinner, I figured that I might as well go all out. I cooked a buffet with every kind of protein available. I spruced up our apartment and tried to make it look as homely and lived in as possible. I even bought some extra furniture and paintings from the local thrift store to amplify the ambience of our home. Zach appreciated the effort, and I was just glad to be able to help him. When his friends came over, they were all so lovely and nice. I could tell that they came from wealth, but they never once flaunted it in our faces. They seemed like genuinely nice people, and throughout the night I felt like I had made friends with them too. While everything was going well, I couldn't help but notice how Zach had gotten quiet about half an hour into dinner. I tried to pull him aside and talk, but he refused to. Finally, after his friends left, I sat down next to him and asked him what was wrong. Is something wrong? No. Are you sure? Because you're suddenly really quiet. It's nothing. Oh, come on, I'm your wife. Tell me what's bothering you. You'll just end up taking it the wrong way. Oh, well, I'll try my best to keep my emotions to myself, so why don't you just open up to me? It's just that I'm a little embarrassed in front of my friends. What? Why? You seemed to be having a good time the last time they were over. Yeah, but then I realized something mid-dinner, and I guess I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. What was it? I just realized that all of my friends have such pretty wives, and I have, well, you. Excuse me? See, this is exactly why I did not want to tell you anything. I know I agreed to keep my emotions in check, but is there a right way for me to interpret this? Look, it's just that all of them live such luxurious lives, and it makes sense that their wives are such beautiful women. I'm nowhere near as rich as them, so I guess it makes sense that you're my wife. I mean, it is embarrassing, but it's something that I can't change, I guess. You do realize that I look haggard all the time because I'm always working to keep us afloat. You refused to find a better job, and you rushed into buying a house when you were younger, so all our money is going into paying the mortgage. Yeah, sure, of course. You have a million excuses for why you look shabby and ugly at all times. I asked you how I looked before that dinner, and you told me I looked beautiful. Of course you'd look beautiful until I saw those beautiful women. You know what? I think that this is just a bizarre conversation, and that our emotions are running too high. Let's just have this conversation later on, when we've calmed down. I grabbed a bag, threw in a few of my clothes and other essentials, and made my way over to my friend's house. I managed to hold in my tears until I got to her house, but as soon as my car was parked in her driveway, the tears poured down. I couldn't believe the way that Zach saw me. I worked so hard for both of us. I gave him everything he ever wanted, and never minded when he never thanked me for it or never returned the same affection. I loved him so much, and he just saw me as some ugly creature he could not show off like some prized trophy. I felt anger coursing through my veins. I wanted nothing more than to turn around and head back home to give Zach a piece of my mind. But I knew that it would lead to nowhere. So I went to my friend's place, where she welcomed me with open arms and provided me with a shoulder to cry on. I stayed with her for around a week before I finally headed home. I figured I had cooled down, and I had given Zach enough time to cool down as well. When I got back home, Zach was watching TV in the living room. He did not acknowledge me at all, so I started the conversation. Are you ready to talk right now? Actually, yes. Great. Have you had a change of heart since our last conversation? I have. Okay, and? And? Are you going to apologize? Why should I apologize? You hurt my feelings. You insulted me. You completely made fun of my hard work. I don't see why I have to apologize for your pathetic excuses. Okay, so you did not have a change of heart. I'll just go back to my friend's place. Call me when you've realized how stupid you sound. No, wait, I didn't lie. I did have a change of heart. Here, sign these. Your change of heart led you to want to divorce me? You know what I realized in the 2 weeks that you were gone? That I am a catch. It's a tragedy that I'm stuck with someone as ugly as you. You cannot be serious. Oh, I very much am. I signed myself up on some dating apps the day after you left, and I got so many swipes that I knew that I was making a mistake by staying with you. You're divorcing me because you think that I'm too ugly? Do you realize how insane that sounds? I don't think that you're ugly. I can see that you are. You're an embarrassment, and I want nothing to do with you anymore. You know what? Fine, I'll sign these. Thank God. I didn't think I had it in me to wait any longer for you to leave. Wow. I dare you to find someone who care for and love you in the same way that I did. Good luck finding someone to pay all your bills for you. I don't need all that as long as I find someone that I can show off. Oh, you will regret this. Mark my words, you'll come back to me. And when you do, I will make your life hell. Zach grabbed his already packed bags and left. I was angry and hurt. How could Zach throw away our relationship over something as arbitrary as my looks? Besides, all that made me wonder about, was he with me for so long only because I fit his standards of beauty? And that made me feel sick. I always did feel like I lucked out a little too hard when I got together with him. But for him to treat me this way was unacceptable. I spent the next few nights crying myself to sleep. Thankfully, my boss was kind enough to grant me 2 weeks' worth of paid time off after I told her about my impending divorce. Over those 2 weeks, I sought out my emotions and got myself a good lawyer. I contested the divorce only because Zach refused to split our things equally. The divorce took about a year to get finalized, and in that time I poured myself into work. I needed any distraction to keep my mind off of the disaster that was my personal life. Once the divorce was finalized and I was finally happy enough to move on, I found out through a repost of mutual friend on Facebook that Zach got into another relationship with a woman who was not only much younger than him, but also so much more prettier than me. That sent me down another spiral of self-loathing and depression. I knew that I would not be able to live that way for long, so I quickly booked myself into therapy, and the next 4 years was spent in intensive therapy to undo all the damage that Zach had done to me. I began to put myself out there again and went on several dates, all of which went pretty well. Once again, just as I was beginning to feel better about myself, Zach showed up at my door one day, completely unannounced. I felt nothing but rage when I saw him, but I tried my best to be civil. What are you doing here? Well, it's been a long time since we saw each other, right? I thought I'd stop by and see how things are going with you. They're going great. I can see that. You have a beautiful home. Yeah, well, ever since I stopped paying for my lousy husband, things got better. Okay, I deserve that. But speaking of marriage, I'm getting married tomorrow. You came here to tell me that? I see that you're still as insane as you were before. No, it's just all of the wedding planning and stuff took me back to when we got married, and I guess I just missed us. I don't think that's right. How could you possibly miss someone as ugly as me? Look, I know that we ended on really bad terms, but I was talking to my friends during my bachelor party, and I guess I was way too superficial back then. You guess? Fine, I was. I was so focused on how all my friends had these gorgeous women that I never thought about how they had real loving and affectionate relationships with them. They had healthy and equal relationships. I did not do that with you. Yay, it only took you 5 years to realize that you were a complete and utter douchebag. I get why you're being cold right now. I mean, while talking to my friends, they told me how lucky they thought I was when I married you because you were the total package. You had the looks and you had a good job and a great personality. I guess I just got so used to you that I stopped seeing it. I let my insecurities get the best of me, and I'm not proud of that. I really am very sorry for the way that things ended. Well, I don't know what you thought you would accomplish by coming here and telling me all this. I appreciate the apology, but that doesn't mean anything now. I know, in the past few weeks, I guess I realized that the worst thing I ever did was letting you go. You were and still are the best thing that happened to me. What are you saying? You're literally getting married in 24 hours. I know. I still love you. Sure, I'll have a pretty wife now, but she doesn't hold a candle to your beauty and personality. I'm only marrying her because she's pretty and has money. So you still haven't changed? No, I have. I mean, clearly, considering that I came all the way to apologize to you. No, you're still the same. You only came here because of something your friends said. You're marrying a woman for the same reasons that you married me. I would even be surprised if, in another 5 years, you'll leave her for the same reasons you left me. That's not true. I do love her. Just not in the same way or in the same amount that I loved you. You're disgusting. Leave me alone. I couldn't believe the audacity that Zach had to show up at my door 5 years after he left me for another woman, and all to try and woo me again. On the day before his wedding, I was disgusted. You know, with the path I had been on before he showed up again, I was beginning to make peace with what had happened, but seeing him again after all those years and seeing that he was still every bit the despicable man he was when I left him, made me want to get even. I wanted him to feel the same pain of abandonment and betrayal I felt on the day that he left me. So I did what any other logical person would have done. I have those Ring security cameras at the doorbell. They record everything that happens outside my door. That meant that it recorded Zach's entire confession to me. Now, when I went to look at the footage, I saw that Zach was only partially in the frame, but that didn't matter. His voice was still very audible and recognizable. I then went through Zach's social media and found his fiancée, Cassandra. I messaged her and informed her of what Zach had done. She responded a few hours later, and she did not seem to believe me, so I sent her the video of what Zach had done. The only response I got from her after that was a thank you. I felt pretty good about myself after that, not only because I was sure that I had ruined Zach's relationship, but also because I knew that I was saving another woman from the same fate I had. I was not going to let Zach hurt another woman in the same way that he hurt me, that was sure. I pretty much forgot about my interaction with Cassandra until Zach showed up at my doorstep once again about a week after our last interaction. I told you to leave me alone. You recorded our previous conversation. Oh, how do you know? My fiancé played that audio in front of everyone, including my boss, while we were at the altar. Oh, wow. That is a great response to finding out that you were cheating. I did not cheat. I would think that you telling me that you're still in love with me a day before you got married to be cheating. Who do you think you are? You had no right to meddle in my relationship that way. Last time I checked, you were trying to get back to me. You were egotistical enough to think that I was begging to be in a relationship with you when I had the most gorgeous woman on the planet willing to become my wife. Whoa, I don't think I was being egotistical. I only sent your beautiful fiancé the recording of our last conversation and nothing else. She interpreted it as you cheating, and I'm sticking with the narrative as well. Ugh, you've ruined my life. Now you have to fix it. Fix it? How do you suppose I do that? You either tell my fiancé that the recording was a fake, or you take me back. Ha, Zach, I have absolutely no reason to do any of that. You make bad decisions, and when they come back to bite you, you can't blame the consequences on someone else. Don't try to act smart with me. You need to own up to what you did and fix it. I don't have any reason to. You can go ahead and figure out your life from here on. Just make sure to never, and I mean never, contact me again, or I will ruin your life yet again. You messed with me once before, and now you'll forever live to pay the price if you keep trying to get back into my life. Bye. Nothing felt better than putting Zach in his place. He had finally learned his lesson, and he was going to suffer even more than what I had gone through when he left me. If there was one thing I knew about his family, it was that they were very, very against cheating of any kind. I just knew that the second Cassandra played that recording in front of everyone, Zach lost his reputation. I can also vouch for that because just a few days after Zach called me, his mother called me to apologize for her son's bad behavior. She apologized for never reaching out because it turns out Zach had been spreading lies about me being superficial and controlling. She asked me if there was any way that she could make it up to me, but truth be told, I didn't want anything from her or her family. While she was a nice lady, I didn't want to have any ties to Zach. I politely thanked her for reaching out to me, and she told me that she had disowned Zach entirely. Something else that she told me was that Zach's colleagues and his boss had been present at that wedding, and after seeing all that happened, Zach's colleagues began to distance themselves from him. His boss was not thrilled with Zach, and suddenly Zach was the black sheep in the company. People were constantly whispering behind his back, and eventually he couldn't take it, so he quit. Apart from that, the rich friends that he loved to listen to were so disgusted by his actions that not only did they give him a good talking to, but they also left him. They told him that they did not want to be associated with a man who was so superficial and unappreciative. They also called me to apologize for the way things went, and I told them it was all okay. So as far as I can tell, Zach has no job, no family, no friends. I couldn't be happier about it. I know that makes me sound cold and ruthless, but that was something Zach should have thought about before making me feel bad about who I was and severely underappreciating the role I played in his life. All of this happened a few months ago, and things only recently died down. Of course, Zach did not listen to me and kept harassing me over text, but I just blocked him and moved on. I'm in a much happier and better place. I don't want to let any of the past negativity affect me in any way. I'm only looking forward to better and more positive experiences, and nothing can bring me down. Cheers.